Bump, set, spike. Today I will be talking about the microculture of volleyball. Volleyball is a unique sport that creates a culture of play and values for billions of people all over the world. There are many values in volleyball. First off, effort. We believe in rewarding and praising effort regardless of outcome. Passion, and still love for the sport that encourages you to play for life. Respect. We promote ethical behavior, fair play, and respect for the game and all its participants. Integrity. We act in a fair and consistent and transparent manner. Even I have been in situations in which a referee will make a horrible call, and not only will the coaches, but the entire teams of both sides will try to reverse the call in order to make it a fair play, because volleyball is a very fair played sport. So now we're going to go into some of the communication of volleyball players. First, you serve the ball. So when you serve the ball, you throw the ball up and then you hit it. The serve is returned by a pass, which is when the ball is passed off the player's platform, which is the inner side of their forearms, and it is usually set to the setter, and then the setter will take both hands and push the ball up in order to set you up for a spike or a kill, which is when the person at the net, either the front, the outside, or the opposite, will hit the ball onto the other side of the court. A dive is when a player throws their whole body on the floor in order to save the ball from touching the floor. It is usually considered an emergency move, as well as a pancake, which is when a person throws their whole body on the floor like they were diving, but instead it hits off the back of their hand as if their hand is the pancake between the ball and the floor. And then there's an ace. An ace is an unreturnable serve. There is almost no chance that anybody is going to get it before it hits the ground, and it usually results in a point for the serving team. These are all terms that you are only able to really understand if you are part of the microculture of volleyball. Volleyball is a game where each player has to guard a particular area of the floor, but at the same time has to be totally aware of what is going on around them. Each player must be prepared to cover their teammates. Volleyball teams can operate this way because each player must have good reflexes and can adjust in split seconds. This often goes unappreciated because everyone is adjusting so quickly. An athlete will have naturally quick reflexes and then learn skills to continue to become quicker, and they practice reflex drills for hours and hours each week to improve their skills. Volleyball players must train for hours. They have to improve their athletic ability and fitness. They practice running, jumping, serving, sprawling, cardio, strength. The focus is always to have the necessary physical needs throughout the match. The coach has to watch the players to see if they are tired out or incapable of being responsible for their position on the court. So each player must be physically in tip-top shape for every single match. Volleyball is as much a physical game as it is a mental game. So every player has to be sharp-minded. They have to be able to think on their feet every match. Many matches are lost because they can't, the teams outthink each other. Momentum shifts and fear sets in before you know it if easy points are lost. And teams need to be able to put the loss of one game aside and know that losing one game has nothing to do with the potential outcome for their entire season. Players must be able to focus on the future and always play at their highest level, and it takes a very sharp mind to do that. So some characteristics of volleyball players is their height. 6 feet is no better than 5'10". It depends on their length more than their height. If they have longer arms than a 6-foot volleyball player, they have the same capabilities, if not better, than that 6-foot volleyball player. You have to be able to jump touch. It is important because there's no room for error. Jump touch doesn't mean that they're gonna jump very high, but they have to be able to jump high enough to block the ball. Another really good characteristic for a good volleyball player is a tall person who can set the ball. It adds more height for the hitters, and it makes it easier for them to set the ball to the hitter at the right height and in the right spot. It is very important for communication on and off the court. It is very essential. It's all about helping volleyball players understand each other and achieve the necessary goals easily. Without a doubt, good communication is the perfect way to keep a volleyball team together. For this reason, communication has to be a key part of a volleyball training program. Volleyball players have to understand who will hit the ball. Oftentimes, things go wrong when two players of the team are trying to hit the ball. Due to a lack of communication, they can stop and miss an excellent opportunity to complete an attack hit. Usually the issue with this is the player goes to the wrong spot. In volleyball, a very common term used is right is wrong, left is right, meaning that you never get the ball to your right, you always get the ball to your left. It is a way from bumping into each other and stealing other teammates' balls, and will result in a better chance of you scoring. Using free, short, and back terms in volleyball communication is very important. Free and short are two commonly used terms in the sport of volleyball. Let's imagine that short is another popular term in the sport of volleyball, not as a short player, but as a short hit or a short pass over the net. It's no surprise that when short serve is performed, the ball usually doesn't go to the back row players who are ready to receive the ball. That means that the volleyball players in the front row have to change their positions so that they can find someone to pass the ball to the setter and receive a good setup for a nice hit. Volleyball is a very big team sport. You cannot play it alone. It needs communication. You have a range of play. You have to rely on everybody on your team as well as the coach. And that is the key to playing and winning volleyball. Colorful terminology is no stranger to volleyball, as evident by such terms as pancake, when the palm is flat on the floor and a ball pops up and a play continues. A Kong, when a player gets a one-handed block. Goofy, when a player jumps with the wrong foot first while attacking or hitting the ball over the net. And Joust, when the ball is on top of the net, two opposing players jump and push against the ball, trying to force it on the opponent's side. If only one player were to get the ball that's sitting on top of the net, it would be called a tip and not a joust. Another interesting fact is that volleyball was originally called mintonette. It has its roots in centuries-old Southern European game called Faustball or Fistball, which is primarily played outdoors on a field half the size of a soccer pitch, and players cannot cross the mid-court line. Volleyball was invented in 1895 as a safe recreational sport for adults, and now has blossomed over the world's 5th most popular sport with over 1 billion players. Another interesting fact is that a volleyball player will jump 300 times in one game. The longest volleyball game on record took place in Kingston, North Carolina, and surprisingly lasted 75 hours and 30 minutes. Now, compared to a normal volleyball match that typically lasts between 60 and 90 minutes. So, an hour versus over 3 days of playing one game of volleyball. The first volleyballs were the bladders of basketballs until Spalding Company invented a separate volleyball in 1898. Another thing that most people don't know is that a spike is actually called a hit or a kill. So you're not spiking the ball over the net, you're hitting it, and then if it touches the ground, it's not considered a spike, it is considered a kill. And then, last but not least, the fastest serve. So we all know that baseball players can throw 90, 100, 120 miles an hour maybe, if they're that good. But volleyball players, the fastest serve that was ever clocked was 132 kilometers an hour, or almost 82 miles an hour. That is a lot of heat going straight to your arms. Not a mitt, not a glove, nothing. Just straight to your forearms. I hope you guys learned a lot about my microculture of volleyball. Thanks for watching.